Yo, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Can I Get More Podcasts in My Monitor. I am Johnny Ruckus. How is everybody doing today on this August 23rd, 2020? I hope everybody's doing well. Looks like a decent day outside so far. It was gloomy, and it's not so gloomy anymore. So, can't complain with that. Yeah. So, I'm just going to jump right into it today. We had a UFC event last night. I wasn't able to watch it. So I won't be covering that today, but that's okay. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to talk about Incubus. I'm going to talk about Make Yourself Today. October 26, 1999. Gosh, doesn't seem that long ago. You know, that was in my my teenage years, you know. I was 17 when this album came out, so being 38 now, it's weird, and it doesn't seem like it's that long ago. You know, just like anybody, you know, that it looks back on their childhood or whatever and can't believe it's that old. You know, I mean, I graduated in 2000, and that was 20 fucking years ago. Go figure. Neat thing about this album is I was already a really big Incubus fan, and I ordered this album online. I don't remember if it was through a on their website, or I'm assuming probably the record label website. So I ordered it because you could get their first album, Fungus Among Us, for free if you pre-ordered. So I had to get in on that. I had to get in on that for sure, because all my friends and we were all big fans of Incubus already. So we needed it, and there was no other way to get it. The original printing, you'd look on eBay and stuff like that, even in the earliest days of eBay, they weren't cheap, because they weren't in print anymore. They were coming off Science, a couple years earlier. I think that was in 1997, and we were into that, but we had never heard Fungus Among Us. So why wouldn't I pre-order it? I don't know if if it was free. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Either way, I ordered it early so I could get Fungus Among Us, and I got it a day early. So super stoked. I'm the only one that got it a day early. Yeah, okay. They probably figured it was going to take 3 days, and it took 2 or something like that to get to my house. So October 25th, I got this album and Fungus Among Us. But what had happened, I'm sure I had to work or something. As 17-year-old me did have a job. What up? No, I needed it to afford my musical habit. I needed my fix, damn it. But I probably went home after work and then saw that I had a package, from FedEx or whatever. Opened up, lo and behold, Incubus Make Yourself. Day early, felt special as shit. So I ripped it open, brought it, jumped in my car, and I went over to my buddy's house like right away. I'm sure I was probably going over there anyways, but I jumped in the car, put it in, and jammed it right away. It was only like a 10-minute drive, but just blasting. And I'm sure, we listened to it 3 times at night. I'm sure we probably had band practice or something like that. And no, it was Incubus listening practice. So, and I'm going to get into everything here, eventually, in a few minutes or whatever. But it was incredible. It's still incredible. You listen to it. It sounds great. it's just a wonderful album. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. I don't know if it's perfect, whatever, but it really, to me, it is. You know, it's just a tremendous effort. You know, like I said, came out October 26, 99. Went double platinum. It was recorded at NRG Studios. It's in North Hollywood, California. Yada yada yada. Produced by Scott Litt and the band, you know, which was not something that happened a lot, as the band would be also a co-producer or whatever. So they must have had legs with their record company to be able to pull that off, because that doesn't happen often, really, at all. So I found that interesting. You know, I don't, you know, there's probably at some point in life I knew that, but I didn't remember that. Scott Litt was best known for producing 6 of the REM records that are kind of like their most popular, most successful. Document, Green, Out of Time, Automatic for the People, Monster, and New Adventures in Hi-Fi. Those were all like, they knocked out a bunch of albums in a very short period of time, and that was, you know, all those albums. And those are through the most successful time in that band. He also mixed Heart-Shaped Box and All Apologies from Nirvana, as well as the MTV Unplugged album. He produced Morning View as well. And then he had all sorts of other, you know, records in the alt-rock world. I know he worked on, I want to say he worked on Live Through This by Hole. Oh, just a ton more. I can't even remember them all, but what I said is he's most famous for. Make Yourself had elements of new metal, alt metal, alt rock, funk rock, you know, kind of elements that they always had, like on Science and Fungus Among Us, you know. But it was also a departure from the previous releases. It's, I think it's kind of like a natural progression for the band. They mature, they evolve. You know, production probably has something to do with it. You know, a producer's job is to kind of, a lot of times, reel in the artist to make the songs more concise, kind of make more sense for the average, you know, consumer. This was also the first record with DJ Chris Kilmore. DJ Life was in the band previously, and he left the band, and Chris Kilmore came in and took over. Different styles, you know. I dabbled in, you know, DJing, as I said on previous episodes, some point in life, but I wasn't good at it, and I didn't know much anything about it. You know, I did it because it was a fad and I could get into an awesome band. You know, I did enjoy it, but I was dog shit at it. There was no way that I was any good at any of that stuff. So, first record, DJ Kilmore. This one, Make Yourself, peaked at 47 on the Billboard 200, which, it surprises me that it only, that's not what I mean by only went to 47, but I was actually surprised that it only went to 47, because Drive was such a big song. I mean, pardon me, really, it got them noticed in this album cycle, but Drive was the one that really pushed them into, you know, superstardom, whatever you want to call it. But surprisingly, as Drive came out as a single like a year after Make Yourself came out, which I didn't realize it was that long. But I was already a fan of the band, you know, and they were already a big deal to me, to my friends and to my bandmates and stuff. So like, I I got the album right away, so it feels like all this stuff took too long, but it's just the way it goes. Critics, mostly positive reviews. Uh, I was looking through some stuff, doing some research, and I saw alternative press gave it like 3 out of 5. Everybody else is like 4 out of 5, 4.5. I think it holds up. It holds up really well. I listened to it a few times in the last few days. Um, it's great. It always is great. I enjoy it. I get excited every time I hear the parts. Um, Even if I'm not surprised by the parts, I still get excited to hear them. So it's a great album for me. Um, yeah, I'll alternative press gave it like 3 out of 5, but my instant reaction was like them shitting on it, even though 3 out of 5 is not shitting on it. It's not what I would, I would give it better. Obviously, it's a 5 for me, all across board. But I was like, oh, alternative press always shit on all the music I like. It seems every single one I've looked through, they're all like when I looked at the Helmet one, I think it was like 2 or 3 out of 5, and I was like, fuck them. I don't. Just me being salty as shit. Oh well, I can be salty if I want to. It's my show, damn it. I want to run through Mike Enzinger's rig real quick, guitar player. At this point in his career, he was still using like dual rectifiers, Mesa Boogie dual rectifiers, 2 Mesa 212s with Celestian Vintage 30s in them, which is kind of a standard, especially for hard rock. If you remember my one about me talking about my amp as a paperweight or not, my amp has vintage 30s in them too, and I actually didn't really like them until I got this amp. All of a sudden I listened to it, my ears changed, but I went over all that. If you would like to, you can go back into the the annals of my show here. um two Mesa 212s with vintage 30s. He was a PRS user at that point. PRS standard 24s, and then hollow body 2s. I know when he was still using PRSs, he was using McCarty's as well. But through this time, he was predominantly using standard 24s and then the hollow body 2. And then he used a mix of Boss, DOD, MXR, Hughes and Kettner pedals. He's actually the reason, actually probably this album is the reason, but definitely Mike Enzinger is the reason why I still have a Phase 90. That's like the one pedal I've always had. I've had different versions, but I've always had it, the MXR Phase 90. You can't fuck with that. And then I had a Boss OC2 octave pedal from, because I learned he used one, as well as a DOD envelope filter. Tim Mahoney from 311 also used those, so that definitely inspired me to get that DOD pedal. And I think they both actually used the octave pedal too, but Mike Enzinger was the one that inspired me to get all those pedals. I was actually thinking about getting an OC2 again. They have a thing. They have a thing that they do, and they do it really well, but that's like all they can do. Whereas, newer releases like the Electro Harmonix Pog, They're polyphonic, so you can play chords and stuff with them. So even my drop pedal on my pedal board, there's a setting where you can go an octave down and then still use the original signal, and you can play chords through that. So the technology has really come forward, obviously a lot in 20 years, and Pog is like 5 or 8 years old or whatever at this point. So the technology has really moved forward, but the OC2 is still a neat thing, and it does a thing really cool. Excuse me. You can do an like octave, no, 2 octaves down or an octave up or both. It's pretty wild stuff, but you can only play single note things on it. So that's like the only drawback, if you will. But it's still a really neat thing. So, all right, let's move on to the tracks here. Privilege is the first track. It's the first thing I heard as soon as I put it in my CD player. Yeah, CD player in my car. My cars now don't even have CD players in them. I was like, where does the disc go? Not in here. It's the first song you hear. Great opening riff. The groove through the verse and everything like that is awesome. So right away, super tight. Great melody and harmony in the chorus. And there's a section in the pre-chorus where the guitar and the bass do kind of like a call and response. And it's a neat play between the two. Don't hear it too often, and obviously can't use it too often, but it's a neat play between the two. It's a great, like, powerful album opener. And it introduces a band that is really ready for prime time. This album was definitely, Science was, let's say, wherever here. If you're watching, you can see it's at my nose. Make Yourself went up. So above my forehead or whatever. So there was definitely a large step up, and this band was really ready for it, ready to go. Nowhere Fast is the next song. Using the Phase 90 on the opening riff. He used a bunch of phasers. He used 2 Boss phasers as well that were set differently, and then he used this phaser. So he's a phaser fan, and guess what? So am I. So Phase 90, that's definite Phase 90 sound. For the opening riff, it's super heavy. And then a great performance by Jose Pastillas. And it's consistent all the way through, but for this song, especially, great snare sound. Great integration to the band with DJ Chris Kilmore. He seems to have really found his groove pretty much right away. So he's in there real well. He's put soundscapes through this whole album, but this is not the first time in the album, because there's elements in Privilege, but this is where you start to get a sense of where he's going to fit in the band. So it's right away in the first 2 songs. And then an awesome bass line and sitar sounds in the bridge. Mike Enzinger actually plays sitar. I don't know if he had an effect here or if he actually played the sitar. He probably did, because he's a maniac. But a awesome groove with the bass line, sitar sounds over it, and it's one of my favorite grooves of the entire record. So really, really good stuff here right away. Consequence is the next song. I saw them play. Oh, let's see, who was it? It was Incubus, Primus, and Buckethead. This was when this album came out, so this was early on in this album cycle. We went right after school, because we were in high school. We went in right after school down to the rave Woo! Shout out to the rave. We went down there right away to see if we could, meet anybody or anything like that. We did see Brandon, and it was like we didn't know it was him for sure because he cut his hair. He had dreads forever, and then he cut his hair, and then he had a hood up. So we didn't really know if it was him or not. But we saw Jose and probably Dirk Lance. Yeah, I think we saw them all because we were, trying to scope it out a little bit. We were totally nerding out. But my point is with this song is when they opened the doors, they were still sound checking, so we couldn't get in to the actual venue yet, but they opened the doors, and Consequence was the song that they were sound checking. So we got to hear, we didn't get to watch, but we got to hear a special performance of Consequence, which was a really neat thing before we bum rushed the stage and got up to the front row. That's when I still got in the front row. If I go to a big show, I sit way back now. There's no way I'm getting anywhere near the front row. I'm old and broken, and I'm already deaf, so I don't want to be any more deaf. But Consequence is song number 3. Awesome tone on the intro. This one sounds like a Boss phaser and a delay. Let's see here. I know he used the reverb pedals from Boss, probably a digital delay. I don't know which one, DD2, DD3, somewhere in there. So it definitely has that. Great performance by the rhythm section. Just a huge chorus and giant tones. They're really wide in the mix. So if you don't know exactly what I mean with that, I don't know how to describe it exactly. There's just a different it sounds like the sound is coming from way outside rather than close in, if that makes any sense to musicians and audio nerds will kind of know what I'm talking about, but if you don't know, I'm sorry if I probably butchered it, but I hope that makes a little bit of sense. And then it's bigger than Charlemagne. It's like who name dropped Charlemagne in a song besides Brandon Boyd. This is one of the albums that I take a lot of my favorite lyrics period are from this album. So, and that's one of them. It's just like who puts Charlemagne in a song, so good on you, I guess. Then The Warmth is next. Most people I think have heard this at some point. What a great guitar tone. There's a lot going on here with it. It's not a hard guitar line, but it's not the easiest either. It's a little off kilter, much like a lot of the Mike Enzinger stuff is. But it's got a phaser, a tremolo, or a roto, because I think it was the H&K Rotosphere. I think that's what it was called, but it was a Leslie effect where it sounds like there's the speaker's rotating. It's called a rotosphere. So it's a tremolo, delay, and possibly the rotosphere. Tremolo or rotosphere, I'm not quite sure. But just a great tone for the whole song. He's in that area. The bass groove. Obviously the playing between, the rhythm section. All this stuff has great performances, the rhythm section. But I've written down great performance by all, because it really is all the things, all the elements in the band are all on display here. DJ Chris Kilmore with the textures in the chorus that fill up the sound. They're not a focal point. They're not out here in the front, but they're all filling in the back, which then makes it so like Mike Enzinger isn't doing power chords and stuff here. He's doing really high stuff that doesn't have a lot of thickness to it and heaviness to it. And then the rhythm section is holding it down, putting the and putting the melody into the song, and then Chris Kilmore is putting these textures in that just fill everything around it, and it's great work to do. And especially with a band like this who has like he's a multi instrumentalist now. He plays keyboards and stuff, but I don't know how much he was doing at this time. He very well could have been, but for sure all the texture stuff with a multi-instrumentalist allows the single guitar player to do stuff like this, where you can kind of lay out a little bit, but the other instruments are able to bring and make the sound really big. So that's what happens a lot with two guitar bands. I've been playing with two guitars for quite a long time, whereas one guitar can like hold like the melody line down and be at one level, and then either a lead or some sort of textural thing, you can blend that down beneath. So if there's a lot of room in the rhythm, then you can fill in with the second guitar, or you can go over the top. There's a lot of things to do in a multi-instrumentalist in a rock band with one guitar player also does the same thing. So then an awesome bridge section, super tight with the rhythm, of course, as it all is. So that's going to be something that I say a lot. I've already said it a bunch. It is what it is, as the kids would say. And then what's really cool about this the last chorus in this is that then Mike Enzinger comes in with the heaviness, distortion, power chords, and then it's just a big giant final chorus. Great performance by Brandon Boyd, just wailing on this thing. Awesome song. Then the next song is When It Comes. This is one of my favorite songs on this record. It really is one of my favorite songs, period, really. I haven't made a favorite songs list, but I can't think that this song wouldn't be on it. Awesome riff. The riff might be my most favorite riff off the whole album. There's a lot of cool interaction with the turntables in this song. The chorus melody, awesome. It's tremendous. One of the lines in it that I really like is the end. The end line is, "'Cause what I want and what I need is and will always be free." It's a weird way to put it together. It feels a little off kilter to me, but it works, and it's very powerful. And then another part, I'm just going to read the whole part. This is like the second half of verse 2. This is, "And it feels like a matador is taunting me with his reddish red cloth, and I'm the bull. Yes, I feel emphatic about not being static and not eating the bullshit that's being fed to me no more, because now I'm full." The first time I heard that, I was floored, and last night I listened to it again, and I was taking some notes on it, and still floored. What an awesome line, and then me just speaking it does no justice to it. So I urge you to definitely go listen to it. It's one of my favorite songs off the album. Stellar is next. This was the second single off the album, released on August 8th, 2000. And then the video release was June 19th of 2000. So I really preempted the single releases on this. I'll get into that and little bit later when I get into a couple of the other singles here. But they released the videos quite early compared to when they released the singles to radio, which I thought was very strange. But there's a lot of things about this release of this album that I feel is very strange, like I said at the top. But that could be just because I was such a nerd for it already. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what it boils down to. So, Stellar has a strange but beautiful guitar riff. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird fucking riff. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it sounds pedal steel-ish. There's elements of that. Also sounds a little slide-ish. There's elements of that, but it's neither. They use definitely the heavy use of soft, loud, soft dynamic in here, which is what I'm a big fan of. The great bass line that keeps the song together, because Mike Enzinger is at the upper registers for most of the song. Actually, I think all of the song. So Dirk Lance and Jose Pastillas have to push this song and pull this song along and keep it together. And they definitely do a great job of that here. Still a big chorus. There's distorted guitar here, and then it goes soft in the verses and stuff like that. So pretty cool thing here. It's a love song. So how do you do it? Make me feel like I do. That's the part of the chorus. And then it's got like a really moody, like tight bridge to it. It's really neat. I really like the breakdowns that they did. Most of their career, but definitely on this album for sure. Make Yourself is the next song, the title track. Great opening riff. It gets stuck in your head right away. It's definitely one of my favorite riffs on the album. Might be one, it's probably one of my favorite riffs, period. But it's a really neat thing where the first passage of the riff, it's in 7/8 time. So there's like 7 beats in the first section. And then in the second section, it's 4/4. So there's like you want to call it 15/16, go right ahead, however you want to count it out. It wouldn't be 11/12. Yeah, like 15/16 would be, however you want to count it out. But one passage is 7/8, then a second passage, there's 2 sections to it, so 8/8, 4/4. So really neat thing that if it's just something that colors it just a little bit differently. There's a little bit different feel to it. Slightly distorted vocals over the whole song, which is not really anything that they do in any other song on this album. There really isn't much of vocal processing as far as other effects. Compression, EQ, the normal stuff, but there's no phaser on the vocals like it was when I talked about the Foo Fighters, or Helmet to an extent. We're not really a whole lot of reverb either. It's mostly dry, and if there is reverb, it's just a tiny amount. So this is really one of the only songs that they have any sort of effects on the vocals at all. Huge chorus, just giant, amazingly tight performance all the way through. Again, this is another one of those great performances that that all come together. Some of them work better than others. It's a studio album, so they're all great performances, but this one is especially tight performance. One of the parts let's see, this is from the bridge. There's an awesome breakdown in the bridge, and there's vocals over it, and says, "So when I make me, I won't be." Wait, no, this is from a different section of the song, but either way, it doesn't matter. So when I make me, I won't be. I keep second guessing myself. It is from the bridge, damn it. Sorry. So when I make me, I won't be paper mache. So not only he used Charlemagne, now he says paper mache. And if I fuck me, I'll fuck me in my own way. So really powerful stuff there again. Awesome energy in the outro. Brandon Boyd screaming his head off, doing like a 1-in-3 kind of drum beat on the snare there. So lots of energy to the out, and then it goes to Drive. Most people know Drive. This is the third single, came out on November 20th, 2000. The video actually came out after. So this is a different. This seems I don't know, it just seems weird to me for some reason. But video came out on January 22nd, and I think that helped. I think the videos from this album helped a lot. MTV, I believe, helped a lot on this album because they were still playing videos then. And obviously it was a great video. It needed a great video, and it was a great video, but this was also a departure from the band because this was all acoustic. Obviously you had electric drums and you had or electric bass, drums, but there was samples, but it was all acoustic guitar except for the solo. So this was definitely a departure from what the band would have done in previous albums. So this song is the one that catapulted Incubus into superstardom. Everybody started to take notice. They had a groundswell with Pardon Me, then Stellar, Built, and then Drive came out and shot them, to the next level for sure. This song went to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. So for, when rock music was still, had representation on the top 40 chart or whatever you want to call it. Number 9, all acoustic guitars, obviously great melodies and harmonies. I love the solo section. It had like a phaser electric guitar on it. And then, it's just a great pop song. It really is. Just a great pop song. And I definitely am not shitting on pop song. Because this is what it was. And it's a great song. It's a great song, period. It doesn't matter really of what genre it may be. Just a great song. Clean is the next song. Brandon Boyd, hand drum intro. It's a djembe? I think that's what it is. I couldn't think of what it was called until like right now. That's how well my brain works. A fantastic groove, a sweet groove when the band comes in, and then it gets really heavy. This is a super heavy song for sure. More great melody. No surprise for sure. There's a lot of neat fills, sound fills by DJ Kilmore. Excellent performance by Jose Pastillas. The hi-hat work. There's a lot of 16th hi-hats. Lots of different syncopation fills on the hi-hat. Just great work by him. Chorus part, say what you will, say what you mean. You can never offend. Your dirty words come out clean. So no matter what anybody, this person, whatever they say, it's all gold. It's all gold. And then the bass tone. I mean, the bass tone is great. You know, their instrumentation, their production is always awesome. Always sounds amazing. But for this, how that all fills in the bass tone, awesome. Yeah, just great. Great stuff there. Next song's called Battlestar Scratch-a-Lat. Easy enough for me to say. Scratch-a-Latchica. Latchtica. There we go. Oof. Murdered it. Not in a good way. Just read it, damn it. They do a ton of, it's like a DJ scratch off kind of thing. So I know they had like a couple of different DJs come in and do stuff on it. But the music on it that they do all the stuff on is just awesome. It's super funky. This goes back to like more Fungus Among Us into science Incubus stuff. Super duper funky. The breakdown in this, I can't even describe it. Please go listen to it. Battlestar, Skrilla, whatever the hell I said, at about 2:18, they do this breakdown where it's so fucking tight. I don't know how they do it. I don't think there was anything I had ever written in my life, nor could I imagine that I could do this. And it's awesome. And then right after that, sweet, funky guitar solo. Woo! Can't fuck with that. Awesome. I Miss You is next. This is a love song. The title tells you it's a love song. It is a love song. It's not one of their most technical songs, but it doesn't have to be, because it's not a weak song. It doesn't have to be technical mastery song. I really enjoy it. There's very cool textures, and it's just a great arrangement, really, for a short song. It's a more pop arrangement, succinct, to the point, great chorus, and Brandon Boyd can hold notes really long. There's one I think he says "miss you," and then he holds the U toward to the whole end of the song. I remember, I think right, but he can hold that motherfucker can sing, man. Obviously, we know that, but no surprise there for sure. Pardon Me is the next song. This is the first single. February 22nd, 2000 came out. The video came out December 9th of 2000. And this song really started getting them traction. They were touring their asses off before this album came out, and obviously toured the shit out of this album too. But they were really touring and not getting any play. Previous to this, I had learned from Incubus, I want to say on the Snowcore compilation, they had probably New Skin on it. And I fell in love. And then I bought Science and loved it all. So I was already a fan. But they were touring, and I just happened to find the Snowcore compilation because there was a bunch of bands on it that I really liked. And I used to buy compilations all the time back in the day when I was in high school. So once this video came out, it really started getting them traction other than just being on the road all the time. They make a great video for it. And then it's also different. And, the intro is different, where you have like the volume swells on the guitar. It sounds kind of like a keyboard of sorts. And then it gets really heavy. And then it comes back down. But There's a bunch of staccato rhythms going on. There's like a counter rhythm that Brandon Boyd is doing. Textures happening all over the place. So it's a giant sound without being in your face. So there's just a lot of elements going on here. And it was a great first single. That's definitely a great choice by whoever made that choice. It's just an awesome performance. You can't listen to this and just be in awe of all the things that are happening, and it still works all together. Then great chorus. It's got a super catchy, just powerful chorus. So pardon me while I burst into flames. This song is about an article that Brandon Boyd read where they were talking about spontaneous internal combustion or something like that. Something like that, where a person bursts into flames. Just there's some phenomenon that I don't know is true or not. I think it is. I maybe, I don't know. It sounds crazy, obviously, but just a great song. They return to the intro before the last chorus, which is a really cool touch. Just a great song. Well, I don't know what else to say. When I was in college, I remember the acoustic version of this song came out. That because it was just acoustic, they had to arrange it a little bit differently. The guitar riffs were were messed with a little bit to fill in more of the sound. And I had learned that, and I used it for one of my vocal finals or something like that, because I had like a vocal class. It really paid off well now. Fart noise. But I played this song. I played it with an acoustic and sung it. And I remember getting good marks from the teacher for it. So obviously I didn't sing it nearly as well as, it needed or could, that Brandon Boyd does, but I was able to perform it in a decent way, So thanks to Incubus on that one, luckily I dropped out after that, but yeah, college dropout. What up? And then Out From Under is the last song. This is like chaos in just the best way. They did this on Science too with the last song. It's a wild fucking song that gets going right away, and it's weird. It's different. It's 4/4. Actually counted it out, but it's just how where they put the spaces in the riff is just a little off kilter, so it makes it sound like it's not in 4/4 timing. So it's a very, very Incubus way to do it, The bass line in the verse, awesome. Awesome. One of my favorite lines in the song is, "Yes, our soul we're told's for selling." Just speaking it again doesn't do it any sort of justice whatsoever. So I know I've said it about 20,000 times so far, but you need to just listen to the song. Listen to this album. Do yourself a favor. One of my favorite Incubus songs, throughout. They seem to do the last songs on the album always seem to be fucking killer, and I always like them because they're always weird. It's strange, it's chaos and wild, but yet it's still super tight. Obviously, it's a studio performance, but Incubus is a really tight fucking band. Even with all the textures and the effects going on, there isn't errant shit happening ever. Even on their live performances. They did a live performance. There's one on YouTube. It's on their not their website, their YouTube page. it's probably 6 or 8 years ago at this point, but it's a live performance they do in their headquarters or whatever. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's really intimate. They have people surrounding them, like their fans or whatever, and it's just a fucking killer performance. It's on their YouTube, the whole performance, and it is sick. It is super awesome. So you should definitely go check that out. I don't remember what that might be, just Incubus TV. I don't know. You can figure it out, you know. You can do the Google search or whatever, It's really easy. You just go to Google and figure it out. Wow. I got quite dickish there, but it's my show. I do what I want. Oh, I'm an idiot. Anyways, my favorites from the album: Out From Under, as I mentioned, Pardon Me. Um, if because that one is not overplayed. I never really got sick of that song, but it was a single, so otherwise you could, and these aren't in from top to bottom. They're just songs that I really like off it. The Warmth is another song. Make Yourself and When It Comes. I think I've went over that a whole bunch. Make Yourself was really a big step forward for the band. This album ushered in the next stage where they could still be aggressive and heavy and weird, but dialed in to be more accessible. All of this while still being experimental. This band and this album showed me that you could write really tight, concise songs with pop arrangements. Most of them weren't wild in this album. Science had much more of a wild arrangement. They really did a lot of more crazy things. Not crazy, like not make sense, but not quite as dialed in. But these most of these songs on Make Yourself are pop arrangements. But you could still explore and be creative within that environment. So Make Yourself is almost 21 years old. Almost allowed to drink. Ha ha ha, dad joke, enter it there. But this is one of the songs that is on my top albums list. My most inspirational albums list. What made me the musician and, guitar player, whatever, that I am today. It's influenced me how I write songs. It's influenced me on guitar tone. I have a lot of debts, I guess, I owe to Incubus in general, but definitely this album. Science, I love Science. There's tons of people that are going to be like, Science is their best album, and I totally get it because Science is fucking awesome. But this album was a step up for them, and it also kind of gave a young kid like me at the time when it came out, not necessarily the blueprint, but it gave me the okay. It told me that it was okay to grow as a musician. You don't have to stay in one lane, and you can continue to experiment and explore, all while writing great songs. So hats off to Incubus. Thank you Make Yourself was a giant influence in my life, so definitely appreciate it. And you all need to go buy it. Go download it, buy the album. I think it's on vinyl. I think I got to go buy this on vinyl. Not I think, I got to go buy it on vinyl. I have to find it somewhere. It's somewhere. I got to find it. So that would definitely be a treat for me. So I'm going to definitely do that. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. I definitely appreciate it. I am Johnny Ruckus. This is Can I Get More Podcasts on my monitor. Please go and follow the show on the various social medias. Facebook and Instagram is at Podcasts on my monitor. You can follow me on all of them. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Johnny Ruckus. SoundCloud, the Pod Song. If you want to contribute to that, please, I'd love to. I love anybody singer wants to collaborate. I would really love you to do that. So go to SoundCloud, type in search podcasts on my monitor. It'll come up. It's for the show. That's the only thing. It's called Pod Song. You can download it, stream it, whatever you want to do. Follow me on the show on YouTube. You have to put in podcasts on my monitor. I am not popular enough yet to be able to call my own shot and say, youtube.com/podcast on my monitor. So there's a whole bunch of numbers and letters and balancing on your forehead to do that. But please subscribe, you hit the bell, all that bullshit. Otherwise, I'm sure, you follow the show on any of the podcast platforms, all that stuff. Can I Get More Podcasts on my monitor? Otherwise, you can go to anchor.fm/podcasts on my monitor. I got all the links to, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. All those ones, I would definitely appreciate the follow. If you're following on Twitch today, I definitely appreciate that. If you're not and you want to follow on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/TheJohnnyRuckus. And with that all being said, again, I am the Johnny Ruckus. And I definitely appreciate everybody stopping by. So have a great day, and we will see you again. Thank you.